Well, we'll see how it works with the glasses here and recording. They gave out on me this summer, and I thought maybe it was because of the heat. So Copper and I are going to go for a little ride here, but first we're going to just make sure everything's checking out okay. Get the hindquarters to step through, maybe just a little better than that. There we go. Make sure he's okay with, that's why I do it right there. Throw that up over his back now. Now, to kind of understand his position, my dog came up on his right side. My dog never bites the horses, because I watch him, because he found a stick on his right side, and it really doesn't matter why, so that's exactly why I do this. So even when you get a little worried and tense, just remember to give your hindquarters, and we'll be alright. So I'll switch directions here. A little tense. Motor's getting revved. Now, it's been a little while since I've been on him, and he's been really great, especially the last couple of years, but always a good idea to check him out. And this is what I do anyway. This is why I like the McCarty or Macati setup. McCarty is the English version of it, English language. Macati is more of the traditional. Either way, it's fine. Anyway, it's nice because you got a lead rope then to work them, or you got a lead rope to get off and move a gate or whatever. And Jay says, "What's going on here?" That's my 3-year-old, probably ready to be started. He just came 3 about a month ago. He's a fall baby. He's out of one of my roping mares that I took around the countryside and rodeoed and jackpotted on by a former stud of mine that I used to own. So we'll just kind of check him out a little bit. Get a little bit tighter. Not overly tight. That's good enough. That won't go on a keeper. One last little check with the hindquarters. Maybe grab a stirrup. Just checking them out. Your checklist. I compare it a lot to like flying a plane. You better do your checklist before you get up in the air, because once you get airborne, it's too late. I said that once, and somebody asked me, "Well, are you a pilot?" No, I just think it's similar. That you should be thorough. It doesn't have to take all day long. There, now we go to yawning. I like it. So I want supple hindquarters. I want a supple horse overall. So if they can soften that jaw. He's been doing this the last couple of years now. And I've learned just to get on and just wait. Let him do that. No matter if I feel like I'm in a hurry, just get on. I'm so much better off. And then some people call it flex, I just soften. Let's pick up a rein. And I'll just wait till he gives to that, and then I'll throw it away. Just kind of like maybe the first ride, and then I'll build from there. Good. I don't need him to come to my knee. I don't even need to come even halfway that far, because what I'm more interested in is that those ears don't tip. I want them even, because if they tip, you do a lot of negative things, and one of them is you get them off balance. Just follow that around. More importantly, when I start to reach there, soften before even. So I'm not trying to flex, I'm just trying to soften. This is plenty good. Now I'll just get the hindquarters. And that's how I really can tell where my horse is that day. Just get him to step through a little bit, maybe follow it up at the front. Not bad. Maybe go the other way. Reach, foot back, hindquarters. See, and then now, since I've been asking him to soften, that should be familiar. Plus, when you soften, don't tip your ear so that you're able to. When I say tip your ear, I mean he's obviously tipping his head. He's tilting it. There. So that he's more balanced to come through. I'm going to take a little tour of my yearlings here. There's one of them. He's happy laying on this kind of cruddy hay that I unrolled a while ago, just to see if they'd eat any of it while they were on the pasture. Hay for all summer. And I'm looking to sell them. but I just got to weigh them first. Now this pasture should be divided up. There's no doubt about it, just like I do with the cornfield. I should be rotational grazing this. I'm a little short on fence posts and fence reels. There's still a lot of grass out here. It's thick, and I can still do it, and I still will. You kind of have to, at least my experience, you have to watch a little bit if you mix horses and cattle, especially if you have, a lot of horses and just a few cattle, especially if it's a smaller area. But for the most part, this works fine. I'm not against it. I'd rather not do it, but it's just kind of the way it worked out for as far as feed and everything goes. This is the only one here, this red white face, that I did not. He wasn't born here. He was born a few miles from here from a neighbor. I got him a year ago. I think they're doing well. I think they're pretty slick-haired looking, starting to get some nice growth. Their bellies look good. They're not overly pot-bellied. They're starting to get a little winter hair, but I think they look pretty good. This is the Longhorns calf. He's just as tall as any of them. He's bigger framed. Those horns, he really didn't have any sign of horn until late last year. So I had the vet out in about February last year. No, this year. We're not doing anything with him. Come here. And he castrated them, and any one of them, he needed some dehorning. And I said, he had little, they call them skurs, I think. They're little kind of half horns at the time. And he said, you know what, it's not worth doing anything with them, so let's not. Well, then they kind of grew, and you can see this one kind of growing down, but overall, it's not, he's never going to be able to use them at all. So I thought that was, he's a Longhorn Hereford cross. Like I said, he's not the fattest one by far. He's not lean. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. But he's pretty framey, so if a person would buy him and wanted to put him on grain, these cattle, I think, would really bloom on grain. Not that you have to put them on it. If I kept any back, I'd just keep them on grass all the way through, grass and hay. But since they've been on this grass the whole time, you get a really good value. It's a win-win. I'm selling healthy cattle to someone that's going to be able to probably make some money on them or whatever they decide to do with them. So they are for sale. Like I said, I need to weigh them. I see them too much every day to have even a guess. And then there's this gray steer that's just phenomenal. Unfortunately, though, he's out of a cow that I have to cull because she didn't come up with the calf this year, and she's got other stuff going on with her. Nothing health-wise. Her toenails grow so much, and I don't know. Somebody said, well, why don't you just run her up somewhere and trim her every time? I'm like, I'm trying to avoid having to be that hands-on with them. And if that was her only problem, I'd live with it. I would. I'd figure out a way to live with it. But she lets everybody nurse on her, so it just won't work. But he's a fantastic steer. Same age, he just much bigger. They're feeling good. That's good. So yeah, that's my 6 that I'm gonna market here pretty soon. I've got my shed cleaned out and ready to go, so that's kind of where I'm going to load them out. Pretty happy with how they look. They certainly could look more fat on grain, but like I said, I think if a buyer understands that, they would be thrilled. They call that green cattle. Green, I do believe, where they've been on green grass or hay or whatever, and you know that you're getting a lot of value out of them because, if I've been pushing the grain to them, then what someone else is doing really isn't going to make much difference as far as that. It's not exponential. Wait, what do they call that? But now that someone would take them and put them on grain, they would fatten right up real quick. In fact, they probably wouldn't be too far off of finishing, I'm sure. Definitely by the time the winter's up. Probably even sooner because their age is... Oh, he found a duck. A fake one, but he found a duck. So anyway, we'll just go for a little trot around the pasture here. I have that sectioned off because they ate way too much of it. And that was my fault because I had some in there, and you can see how bad they eat that down. But it'll come back. I'll just rest it. You know, maybe I'll do is I'll take a ride through the cornfield from the other side here, and we'll take a look at the rest of the cattle, horses. Let's figure out what's the best way to get there. I'll probably shut this off, start up again. He feels good. He's standing out. A little more trot. Let's see if he'll come down. Not bad. Leaning on me just a bit. There he goes. There. So we'll soften him a little bit. A lot of times I see people soften them, or what they say flex, in the beginning, and then don't do a whole lot more, or they just go crazy and overdo it. But I'd rather do this a little more, the hindquarters, and then follow it up with the front. And like I said, I'm really looking for those ear tips to stay level, and if they don't, this is where you'd have trouble with the turnaround. Have trouble with everything. But so I think this little guy's going to be a nice horse. I'm waiting for him just to kind of grow up a little bit. He'll probably, I don't know if he'll get a whole lot bigger. His parents aren't real big. He should widen out, but he'll mature quite a bit. So I might start him. It's a little deceiving because Copper's a big horse. He's almost 15 too. So compared to him, it'd be nice now. I know he kind of went in your way, but sometimes you got to be forgiving of the youngsters. And then we got Leo over there. Leo's got a good start to him, but I don't know, he's been a little off, so I've been trying to manage that. He's a nice, easygoing horse. What is he now? 6, I think. Right? This is a nice little spot. Good place to winter. That's the west. North is that way, of course. That way is west. And it's good cover from the wind. I wish I had more cover that way, but sometimes they'll go out in that tree line. The fence is right there, but they'll go up to the fence with their butts to the wind and ride out a storm, even though they can come in here. So we'll start back up again when I'm in the cornfield here. These glasses are aggravating. Sometimes they record, sometimes they don't. So that's what's left of the wrapped baleage. Well, baleage. There's 3 rows there, but boy, I'm going through the hay. Wow, they are eating a lot this year, eating it sooner. I do have a lead on some more hay. There's plenty of hay out there this year, but most of it's not very good, poor quality. Like even what I unrolled there, it's not great. It's pretty coarse, but they chew on it, they lay on it. It'll just be fertilizer. That's a thin spot, so I wasn't sure what that hay'd be like. So that thin spot, bare spot, even if they don't eat it, it'll do it some good. The ground some good. So, and then of course the really good hay's high, very expensive this year because of all the rain. It's hard to not get hay put up without being ruined, or not quite ruined, but spoiled. But anyway, so this is the other end of the cornfield here. So I don't know if I mentioned before that if the weather gets bad, I'll just start on this end for the cattle, and they can come up. There's automatic waters here that are heated, and they don't freeze ever. That's what they tell you when they buy them. They'll never freeze. Yeah, right. But it beats a lot of things of trying to water them. And then of course there's shelter if they need it. So that's why I'm starting on that far end, because when it does get snowy, I may have to take a nice knife to this. This is a custom made gate latch. If you're really interested in one, let me know. I could probably send you one. They're real weatherproof. Yeah, good old twine. Let's leave this open. So that's what I like to see right here, though, where there's clover, and I don't like the foxtail. I hate foxtail, but there's a few corn cobs. On the edges there's going to be more because they don't quite get them, quite reach them, but right? Okay. No, I don't think so. Beat me to it. Don't even have to pull on them. Evidently there's a hole here. They didn't tell me about it, so I'm not sure what the flag does. I think it's a tile, broken tile, and I'm not real concerned about it, because with the grass, and if the ground's what I'd call healthy, it should absorb the water, the rain. Yeah, see, now he's tripping in here. I don't feel so bad when I'm walking out here. We'll find a row. Are you gonna get your toy? Hey, go get your toy. It'll get left out here. This spot's real grassy. It must have been another low spot. So this is 20. Pasture we were in there, the grass. Technically it's like a 9-acre, so, but I call it, well, this total is 30. How about that, between the cornfield and that little grass? And like I said, hopefully this time next year it'll be all grass. Kind of fast forward here and catch up. Oops. There's the cattle. Act like you've never seen cows before. Then I have the rest of my horses over there with the 3 Coriani steers who've had a pretty easy life, those 3. So we're going to come upon the first fence, the rotation fence, the portable one, and then the second one where they're behind that. So I'll just keep moving it towards that gate that I just came through. I don't know about every day, maybe every other day, because stay on your feet there, big boy. These corn stalks are miserable to walk in. They stick up like little tree roots that are about 6 inches tall. I don't feel so bad now because I trip out here a lot. And he's like, let's take a break. Good idea. So if you can walk the rows this way, it's great. But to do my fence, I can't. And it's taxing. That's what he says too. So we'll just work on a little softening. Now over, now how about in a little bit? No, not quite. Don't need to move your feet, so we'll just hang in there. Just hang in there. There you go. You don't need to move your feet though. So we'll just hang in there. Lots of distractions. There you go. Horses are coming up. Yeah, that's how I feel too. So now we got a little of both. That's good. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a calf on the hay, and then the rest of the 18 head kind of various spots on the corn fodder. All right, over there, we'll take a look at the rest of the